You.
Very good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Abuja.
All right, you're welcome. He's a broadcast journalist, my senior colleague.
Well, we're all journalists. That's
All right then. So, well, today on Media Lab, very interesting stories that we do have to talk about. I think we'll begin from this story. Well, this was what we discussed though on X-Ray, but then let's get to hear your own take on the situation. President Muhammadu Buhari has wondered what former President Olusegun Obasanjo achieved after spending huge amount on the power sector. He spoke with reference to the failed $16 billion project, that is power project, under the Obasanjo administration, giving a hint that he might probe the ex-leader. Meanwhile, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has said that he is ready for probe over the $16 billion power project. Obasanjo said a statement credited to President Muhammadu Buhari, apparently without correct information and based on ignorance, suggested that $16 billion was wasted on power projects by a former president. Okay. So it's not new that, there's always this war of words between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the sitting President Muhammadu Buhari. But then talking about power and what is currently obtainable in that sector, what do you make of this situation?
well. First and foremost, I'm not sure. Probably, well, we can say within journalism, you can do interpretation, you can infer. Maybe that's where Obasanjo's name is coming in. Otherwise, I'm not sure the president expressly mentioned the name Obasanjo. He simply said an ex-president who was said to have spent $16 billion on power. But where is the power? I think this was the crux of the whole issue. It's not a new story. You recall that the House of Rep, I'm trying to remember who was speaker. I think it was either Tambuwa. I think so. I'm not too sure. Also did a probe, attempted to probe, or did some probe on this matter where Honorable Ndude Lumelu was chairing. And that committee, somehow, during the course of investigation, there were certain revelations. But suddenly the whole work of the committee was rubbish. There were all manner of the usual drama, hanky-panky, so many things came out. At the end of the day, the committee itself, the chairman was alleged to have had some infractions here and there. And at the end of the day, today, we do not know what actually happened to that probe. So it's not a new issue. And all along, it's been a low fruit hanging on the head of the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. People keep making reference to that issue. But we haven't had any closure as to know exactly the truth of what happened. But if you are in this country, you are living in this country, you would have known very well that the question is whether the current president is right to have asked question whether there's power. If such a huge amount of money was said to have been spent in the power, would you agree with this president to ask where's power? I mean, are you seeing power? We still largely depend on generating sets. Thank God now people are beginning to also look at the renewable energy, alternative energy, solar, and the rest of it. Otherwise, of course, it's something that would have required question. Some would also argue that why hasn't the current president spoken all this long until now? Maybe because of the stand of the former president on a number of issues concerning him. But of course, also this current president is someone who doesn't speak anyhow. He doesn't talk much. He do less of talking. And to situate the issue properly, he was receiving a group yesterday. And it was in the course of that he now mentioned, he made this point. And the former president, being who he is, Obasanjo quickly responded. And I think why he is talking about I'm ready for probe, because he knows that nobody will probe him.
How can he be that sure?
Yes, I mean, it's an open secret in this country. Being a former general, being someone who has been involved in, since 1999, he's been playing a role in almost every government, the emergence of every government in this country. So he's too confident that nothing would happen to him. How many of leaders in this country have been called to account? Even those who attempt, until this current administration, that has been an attempt to call people to account. But you see the dramas that are going on. Some, I mean, and this is why the words of Bishop Kukah comes to mind. Are we really, really, as a people, are we serious? Do we really, really want to fight this menace called corruption? Because the next minute now, watch and see as this story is unfolding, you will see people begin to take side. Some will be for, some will be against.
I think people are already doing that.
Okay. And this now will be the talking point for the next 2
So is it
3 weeks.
really about taking sides at this point, or looking into the major problem and see how to find a solution?
Even the taking side, I mean, the way Amana will take side now, we will not be looking at the substance of the matter. We will not be saying, let's probe and look at the issue. What are the issue? Is this thing true or not true? Because even in the statement by the former president now, he simply said, you are ignorant of the facts. In fact, in one point in the statement, he said, when you know the issues are there, you know them. So, I do not also want to believe that the current president will just come throwing words. Because he is the man sitting there. He must have seen through and seen some certain things to suggest. So you look at even a lot of projects. Just before we came on here, we were mentioning a lot of projects that were started from the time of the former President Obasanjo. Roads, even roads. That many of them until now we saw that they are being worked on. So you begin to ask the question, and we hear every year, you hear a huge amount of money budgeted, where there's a difference between budgeting and the actual releases. And so you begin to ask these questions. So at the end of the day, we talk over these things and nothing really comes out of it. And if tomorrow somebody is called to account, you will see because he's our own, because he speaks this language with me, because he shared this faith with me, that is why they're after him. Or because he did not, because he you hear ridiculous things like, because I was asked to join a particular party, I refused. Or because I was asked to rubbish this person and I refuse.
So we allow sentiments to get in the way.
And people now begin to applaud and take side and leaving the substance and creating division among us. So why I'm saying that the former president is too confident that nobody will probe him, because at the end of the day, you will see those who will be for, and those will now begin to will become cheerleaders. And everybody is taking side for this reason or that reason. And at the end of the day, the main issue, nobody addresses the main issue.
Well, in the same vein, two civil society organizations, the Socio-Economic and Rights Accountability Project, that is SERAP, and the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, CACO, said President Buhari should probe and not just comment on the $16 billion power projects and alleged corrupt former leaders of the country. They said the president must look into these projects and bring whoever is involved to justice to stop impunity. Do you see this happening? Like you're just saying, the former president now feels very confident that, hey, it's not going to happen because he's not just the only past president, and nothing in of such has been recorded so far in the country.
Yeah, you see, I can tell you already this morning, have had cause to discuss with some few people, and the argument has been, what of the current president and his own people? You hear this kind of argument. What if his own people, they have always been living on government fund, they are making money from government, why is it not probably there? Is it only Obasanjo? Then you hear this kind of things. At the end of the day, don't be surprised. You begin to see people begin to
So we're supporting those who have, pointing at people who have also done it. Is that really going to bring an end to it?
It won't. And you will see, even when people are dragged to court, you see people who are Ashwebi, uniforms coming
solidarity.
to solidarity that is because it's politics.
Wow.
You hear, if it begins to probe now, the conclusion will be that because of 2019. Because
so from what you're saying,
out.
really, it's like even, you know, the generality of Nigerians can also be a part of why these things never really get through. If we have people who would just come out to support blindly,
yes,
because you feel, well, this person is being brought out here because he speaks a different language or because he belongs to this party or that.
Precisely. I mean, you saw even not too long ago when Saraki issue came up, and when he was docked, the question, the first day he was docked, when he was asked question, what was he saying? It's because I'm Senate President. That's why I know I'm here. Otherwise, I would not have been here. Now, the question was, did you commit this offense or not? It was for you simply to say, I did not. And then you allowed the prosecutor to prove his case. Because he who alleges has a burden of proving the case.
Yes.
But you see, the argument was, then suddenly you see the senators, any day he's going to go, the Senate will shut down. All of them will go in solidarity. And the next thing, the interpretation is that it's attack on the Senate. The next thing now you will see, if probe of Obasanjo comes out now, people begin to impute all manner of sentiments and emotions. And at the end of the day, to the extent that even blackmail will step in. You know, and I see like a mafia kind of thing in the country where the leaders watch my back, I watch yours. Simply, these are the kind of things that are happening, and then the people, and that's why I tend to agree with people who say a country or a society gets the kind of leaders it deserves, because these leaders are products of the society. I mean, you are not going to get people from the outer space to come and govern your society. They are the same type of people. They are the product of your society. I mean, if I keep making reference to these things, if as children are growing up in the house, a father is fond of when somebody knocks at the door, tell him I'm not in. What are you telling the child? You're already teaching the child to tell lies. A child go to school, come back with a pencil that, I mean, do not belong to him or her. The mother keeps the pencil and allows the child to keep the pencil. Whereas I know in the past, when we're growing up, if you come home, every day your parents will check your books. Any pencil or any book that do not belong to you, the questions are asked. So you are even afraid. If somebody, an uncle dash you a kobo, of course, children these days, they don't receive coins. You must go show your parents. Otherwise, you know what the trouble you're going to land in. This is not happening. So people grow up with this kind of orientation. We grow up with this kind of thinking, mentality. And we don't see anything wrong. The small lies we tell, keep graduating. Go to drive on the road now, see the average driver. A taxi man, he wants to carry passenger, he wants to stop and make sure everybody wait behind him. He carries the passenger, you still wait for him. He will carry his passenger or drop his passenger and want to still be ahead of you. Invariably, you want to use his cake and still have it. That's greed. Gradually, when such a person, you give him the small position, he wants to amass what ordinarily is supposed to go for like 10, 20 people. These are the kind of things that are happening in the society. And so these same people with this kind of orientation grow up. When they hold public office, it's what is already in. So they now exhibit the same thing, probably at a different level. The magnitude now becomes different. So these are the kind of things.
You know, from all that you're saying, really, I'm just seeing this area that I think many Nigerians need to also focus on, the fact that even when there is an attempt to bring, you know, some of these, whether past leaders or people who have, you know, been in public offices, to bring them to account for certain things they may have done, and then you find this large group of people coming to support them blindly simply because they are from the same place. I mean, if we hold on to behaviors such as this, I really think we will never get out of the situation we're talking about.
And that's the point few of us are making, that if we continue with this attitude, okay, today there's this argument, that the current president, the current government is only going after people who are opponents. Fine and good. For me, some would say it's a wipe argument. I've heard people say that. I say, I don't care. I honestly don't care. The question really is, did you commit that offense or not? That should be the question. Because this government, whether you like it or not, the current administration, can never be in power forever. Good, the thing we have democracy.
True.
It's not military. Like the current president yesterday made reference to. He said when he was military man in uniform, he just packed everybody, go and lock you and say, okay, prove yourself if you're innocent. But that he can't do that now. In the same statement yesterday, somewhere I think he mentioned that too. He said if, as a military man, he would have just packed, he would pack everybody. You know? And this is why I feel that even our laws, we should amend it in such a way that if you are your living standard is beyond your source, you should go first. You should be asked to come and give account.
True.
You are the one to prove that okay, this is how I made this money, A, B, C, D. But the situation where now you say the other is the accuser to prove the point. This is what because they know they rely on technicalities and do all manner of things. You will find you see cases where the substance of the matter has not begun. You will just be busy on technicalities. You will drag to Supreme Court, you come back. You pick another point, you drag to Supreme Court and come back. And at the end of the day, times keep going on. Like you see what is happening. The new style now is once somebody is arrested and charged to court, the next thing is sick. I mean, these are the dramas we're seeing. And then the next thing you hear some on stretchers. But all along you were aware. But suddenly when you are accused. Now, there are so many examples we can give.
Okay, let's go on a quick break at this point. So we'll come back and take more stories. Do stay with us.
Welcome, my dear friends.
Human Rights Radio. Your 100% effort is not good enough.
You know.
Give me 101.1 effort.
Queen Irene Onwuka Peace Foundation, in collaboration with the Federal Capital Territory Administration, presents the National Children's Day celebration. Theme: Nigerian children advocating for peace, love, and unity. Featuring culture, dance, comedy, creativity, and fashion. Date: the 27th of May, 2018. Time: 12 p.m. prompt. Venue: International Conference Center, Abuja. There are some things that money cannot buy. And the most important of them all is our childhood. For sponsorship, inquiries, and more information, please call 0706 486 4040 or 0816 208 0762. Enjoy the spirit of Children's Day.
Udummiri ebidola. A na-adọ ọhaneze aka na ntị ka ha gbochie ma kwụsị akparamagwa ga-ebute mmiri ọdụdọ na mbuze dịka iwufu ahịhịa n'ime mmiri na-asọ asọ ya na ịtụnye ihe n'ime gota. A na-emekwa ka ị mara na iwu ụlọ n'ebe na-ekwesịghị dịka ụzọ mmiri nwere ike ịkpata ịtụfu ndụ ndị mmadụ n'efu ya na ihe nweta ndị mmadụ ịla n'iyi. Mee ihe kwesịrị dị mma. Ọ bụ Federal Capital Territory Administration FCTA na-ezitara gị ozi a.
Yayin da damuna ta fara kankama, an shawarci al'umma da su guji bata muhalli wanda ke iya jawo ambaliya. Zub da shara ba kan gado shine makasudin babbar ambaliya a birnin tarayya Abuja. Saboda haka kar ku zub da sharar ku a magudanan ruwa. Bugu da kari, an shawarci al'umma da su kiyaye yin gine-ginen gidaje a hanyoyin ruwa wanda yin haka kan iya jawo rusan da zai laƙume rayukan al'umma da dukiyoyinsu a lokacin damuna. A koda yaushe ku kasance mai yin abin da yake daidai. Wannan sako na zo muku ne daga hukumar birnin tarayya FCTA.
Wani ya samu wani yana
gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti mọ̀ wípé àsìkò òjò la wà èyí ni láti sọ fún gbogbo ènìyàn láti yàgò fún ìwà ìdọ̀tí dídà ìdọ̀tí síbi tí ò bójúmu tí ó lè fa omíyalé àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù dídà ìdọ̀tí síbi tí ò bójúmu tàbí òpópónà sì jẹ́ ohun kan gbòógì tí ó ń ṣokùnfà omíyalé àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù ní ìlú Àbújá ẹ má ṣe da ìdọ̀tí sínú gọ́tà tàbí ọ̀nà tí ìjọba ti pèsè sílẹ̀ fún omi láti gbà kọjá a tún fi àsìkò yìí sọ fún gbogbo olùgbé FCT Àbújá láti rí dájú wípé wọn ò kọ́ ilé sí ọ̀nà tí omi ń gbà kọjá èyí lè ṣe okùnfà pípàdánù ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀mí tàbí pípàdánù ohun ìní ní àsìkò òjò ẹ ṣe ohun tó tọ́ ìkéde yìí wá láti àjọ FCTA Federal Capital Territory Administration.
As the rainy season begins, the general public is hereby advised to avoid environmental practices that could cause flooding. Indiscriminate waste disposal has remained a major factor causing flooding in the FCT. Do not throw your garbage into gutters and drainages along waterways. Residents are also advised to avoid building houses around natural waterways, as this could also lead to loss of lives and property during the rainy season.
Do the right thing. This message is from the Federal Capital Territory, FCTA.
Human Rights Radio.
As the fourth estate of the realm, the media stands as the watchman of the nation. On Media Lab, we dissect the news items of the day through the men and women that bring the news to you to give you the full story. Media Lab, airing exclusively on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
Welcome back. Media Lab continues on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Now, to this story, the Primate of Anglican Church in Nigeria, Reverend Nicholas Oko, has said that killings by armed herdsmen will not stop unless they were first disarmed and exposed. He said this in his solidarity speech during the Life is Sacred protest by Catholics in Abuja. Now, in another development, the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, says God is angry with Nigerians following bloodshed in the country. Abubakar, who is the President General of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, therefore called on Nigerians to blow whistle on family relations, politicians, if found guilty of the killings. Well, there has been, this idea that it's very unlikely that such killings would, persist in a particular place without anybody having knowledge of where, these people are coming from or who they really are. Based on, this comment now from the Sultan, and of course what the Reverend Nicholas Oko said too about the killings. I mean, how do we get to bring, to expose, how can family members perhaps, or maybe even other Nigerians who may have knowledge of certain politicians or any other person who could be involved in this, how can they help?
One of the major problems, just as what we discussed in the last story we discussed, this emotional, sentimental, extreme attachment to our beliefs, and that to the extent that they blind our sense of judgment, to the extent that they blind our sense of distinguishing between our lefts from our rights. This is part of what is also giving rise to this. As Karl Marx would say, religion is the opium of the masses. And I think the elites have so discovered this thing that they now keep throwing this. It's like a thief who comes to a house and want to steal, and there are dogs. You simply know that the dogs love buns. So you go get buns, throw the buns at the dogs. They'll be busy feasting with the buns, and you go into the house and do whatever you want to do and get away. Without the dogs doing what they are supposed to be doing. This is exactly what the elites, the political class, the elites in Nigeria have discovered about us. And they keep doing these things. They bring that very thing they know that are attraction to us and throw it while we are busy struggling and discussing and talking and fighting over them. We're also slumbering over those things. They are busy plundering our society and also busy creating problems. Now, this, you look at the beginning of Boko Haram, for instance. The initial deceit was that it was for a religious purpose. And I can tell you a number of people, even within those communities, where it started in Borno at that time, some bought into this. And until later they now discovered that these were terrorists. These were people who did not mean well for any society. And you would see that people who profess the Islamic religion in that area suffered more. You can imagine that they say they'll come to a mosque and kill people. By the initial stage, they made it look as if they were propagating Islam and defending Islam. But at the end of the reality down on us, this is the same thing we are seeing today. Everywhere you will see this kind of thing. And people are hiding under those things and misleading people, and sometimes people go to sleep. And so when you allow this thing fester for long, at the time you realize it, these people would have gained roots, proper grounds, and would have been very difficult to quickly curtail them. This is what is happening. And again, even some of the within the security forces, some people are also, because this thing creates certain benefit for them, they would not want these things to end. As some would say, the downfall of another man is is when someone else's misfortune is the fortune of another.
Yeah.
So there are also people who, because these things, certainly, of course, like the Republicans in America are known to love war, because most of them are arms dealers. So when there are war, their businesses flourish. And somebody, a coffin maker who told somebody, say, how is business? How can business be good when people like are working? So these are the things that are happening. So some people, even within the security forces, are enjoying these things, because the more these things go, the more they are buying arms. They are also going on special duties, receiving allowances. You forgot that until now. The money we are hearing, the Metu, the Dasuki Gate, and the rest of it. These monies were meant to get arms to fight the insurgents, and they ended up in pockets. But for this exposure we have now, probably that would have gone down the drain and will continue to pump money in that area, and nothing would have happened. So these things happen, and then over time, the kind of way some of the security operatives relate and behave with the locals, because this intelligence is not something you buy from the sky. It is the same communities that you need to build synergy and build confidence, where you can now begin to gather intelligence. But when this is absent, the confidence of the people is, if there's no confidence, trust between you and the people, the tendency is that you will not get into it, because you cannot tell me that people will move in large number. Like the Birnin Gwari, the last one we had, that there were on motorcycles of over 100. And you are moving that number. Then you tell me that somebody somewhere would not have noticed such a mass movement. It's not possible. Now, it is when people notice such movement and then alert the security people, and then they are also the response time is also key. But most often we don't see these things. So this is why these things will continue. And even some, when they know something, don't say, this one our own, they keep quiet until after dealing with every other person, no other person, then it turns to you. So these are the kind of things that are happening. And then the political class, again, in their clash, we have become like games. I want to discredit this government. I want to discredit that government. After all, this is that government, or this government, or that government preached. Campaign on the basis of security. So let's see. So that I can have reason to campaign and say, you have failed.
Yeah.
These are all the factors that are greatly working, and we continue to have these things. But people tend to forget that these things, the moment you fall down, I mean, you die. That's the end of whatever you have acquired. And I think that's why I totally agree with both Reverend Oko and the Sultan, that we must, until we begin to seriously have the political way to expose these people who are behind these things, and until we expose them and possibly bring them to book. And this was exactly what the Catholic Church yesterday did, praying and calling that the government must be alive to its duties, because the number one duty of government is nothing but the protection of lives and property. If you cannot add value to the people, the lives of the people, ensure that they are safe. And I think Nigerians, when they are safe, when they are sure that they can go to their farm. I mean, unfortunately, and most of these people are farmers who do not even have presence of government. They will not even demand anything from government. All they're after is, let me be safe. Let me be able to go to my farm and fend for my family. I mean, is it too much for the people to ask? I don't think so. So I totally agree with the two religious leaders, but they must also go beyond that. They are followers. These people in government are people that that listen to them. They should begin to call these people and talk to them. Not to just, they should ensure that these people, because whether you like it or not, both Reverend Oko, both the Sultan and other religious leaders have most of these people who attend worship in their where they preside over. And I'm sure they listen to them. They can talk to them. And if they talk to them in a plain language, in a clear language that they will understand whatever they are saying, otherwise we will just continue to be dancing around. But I think, I'm not very religious, but I want to say it, that God himself, because Nigerians, we say we are very religious, all of us trust and believe in God. And I would say God will soon cleanse this country and sanitize and save the country from this kind of situation. Because when you begin to kill even innocent people, children, who do not know anything, you think God will go to sleep and allow this to continue?
Okay, let's open up the phone line at this point. You can call in and share your own thoughts with us. 08033221149. It's 08033221149. Media Lab on Human Rights Radio. Hello?
Hello.
Please turn off your radio. Hello?
Hello, I'll put it off.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, my name is Muhammad Kabir. I'm calling from Newcastle.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, your guest has tried enough. But his last statement was one I want. We are a religious country here. And both strong religions, their leaders are saying something. It's not what they are saying. We want action. Each religious leader should go back to the followers and give us, even if it is 2 months, we are ready to go of fasting and prayer. And let's see, truly leaders, if they are not having hands in it, how can this thing happen? For the past, are we not the same Nigerians? Is it not the same? Do you have changes in humanity in Nigeria? So definitely they are sincere enough. It's not this same trick of what are you they are doing outside. No, it's sincerely from their mind. They should go back and lead us with this prayer and fasting and see 2 months. See what God will do. God is not somebody that will be covering something for you. We will open it up. We will see the eyes of the enemies. Let's 2 months. Let's see. God bless Nigeria. God bless Human Rights Radio.
All right, please, Muhammad Kabir, try and calm down. Really try and calm down. But he's ready to fast 2 months, he said. Interesting. Hello? Hello.
Hello. Good day, Sister Ruth.
Good morning, David.
Great to your guest in the studio there. I would say a big well done to him. He has really said a lot. The least I have to contribute is that the religious leaders should collaborate with the traditional rulers too. So in all these areas that these crises are happening, the traditional rulers, the community leaders, they should all come together. Because when we say pray, fast, and we don't do the needful, I think things will still. But if they work together, I think most of these things that are happening will reduce, if not stop. Thank you. God will bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Welcome.
My name is Malam Bawa Tuwan Soja. I am Nasrawa Kaduna Road. Injirin masu gida da dauke kayanka.
Welcome, Sohon Soja.
I'm the ex-serviceman.
Okay.
As you understand.
Yes, we're listening.
Both politicians and it's our security, they are playing with this thing. But as we observe this thing, no how 20 people will come for village and kill the whole village and go. From where they come? Are you from up? I mean, they come from the wild to up and kill those people. Please let us assist ourselves and tell ourselves true. Now, when Buhari do something, me I go talk, I look against Buhari. When Obasanjo do, Yoruba no go against Obasanjo. When another evil man did something, look like this governor of TV state. When anything where you go for now, they will listen to una. You go talk back to the governor. You go against Buhari. If you don't commit this situation in our own man for this country, now so good is over. They think everything touch nose. So what time now inside the year you go enter. Please listen and take this nation. Let it not be like Habasha. I think you know Habasha.
Okay. Yeah.
When they destroy the whole animal and everything that, please make it we should do our eye and our ear to look something, make you tell ourselves true.
Okay.
If you don't do anything because of God and God will see you, the time when God will catch them now, they no go accept you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 08033221149. Hello.
You're speaking with Shedrack.
Welcome, Shedrack.
Yeah, actually, my contribution is that the party has been told that some of us know the truth, but the government is not doing anything to help our own issue. Like in my place, our people cannot go to farm. And when we keep complaining, they won't do anything. So please, the government should stand up and do the right thing before this country will care about. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. It's Media Lab on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. You are free to call in and let's hear your thought about the stories that we have looked into this morning. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
Okay. I lost that call there. You can call back. 08033221149. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome.
What's your name?
I came to concur with the second to the last caller.
Okay. What's your name?
You're talking with Chen Boom David around Guayampa.
Okay.
Yes. My contribution is that, you see, this nation, we are beginning to lose hope or something. Because the nation is gradually deteriorating from bad to worse. But we are praying that things will change as time proceeds. Nevertheless, this planet man, I really cannot tell about them. These people, they never wish this country well.
the federal government should embark on let me say, arms checking, house to house. Whoever is caught with any deadly arm should be executed, be a Christian or a Muslim. That's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, let's get your final thoughts, Mr. Ifa.
Well, the callers have expressed almost the same thing, and just as I did point out, the religious leaders and traditional rulers, it's not just enough for them to make comments, but they should back it up and go beyond just rhetoric, lamentations, because, as I say, these people in position of authority, at least listen to them. They are their followers, and as such, when they speak with them, I'm sure they will listen and probably do something. And Nigerians, we should also learn to be very vigilant and dwell with this attitude of this is my own, we versus them. Until Nigerians, if we come together and unite and hold our leaders accountable, it is at that point that we'll be able to have a direction in this country. Otherwise, if we continue with this attitude of divide and rule, which these people, the leaders have understood us so much, I mean, we won't move anywhere. And every day we'll be lamenting and things will be getting, like the last caller talked about, bad to worse. But God forbid.
Yeah, really so. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ifa Emmanuel, for being on the program today.
So it's a pleasure.
All right, and thanks to our callers and listeners as well. Media Lab makes a return Monday. You know, it comes your way Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays every weekday. So we'll make a return next Wednesday. But many thanks for your participation. Do stay with us. The news will be coming up at 12 noon. My name is Ruth Usman.
Making the world a better place every day. Human Rights Radio 101.1. Redefining broadcasting.